It's your boy Ty back here with another video, and in this video today, guys, we're going to be talking about the NBA Tournament Battles East and West collection, just the NBA Tournament Battles collection in general, and why I know we were upset about it last Friday just because it really was, there was no hype behind it, but why, if you are no money spender really trying to save MT, why this could be a big W for each and every one of us, because we're going to get possible Amis and Diamonds. Before I dive any further into that, if you are new to my channel and have not yet, man, make sure you guys do smash that subscribe button as we are on the road towards 130,000 subscribers. So there's a couple of things I want to note, okay? The first thing I want to talk about is, are there a ton of in-season tournament games, or how frequently do they happen? Well, I don't want to sit here and say they happen like super often, because the Bucks next game, and the reason I mentioned the Bucks, because they've already gotten one win. Their next game is not until Friday, November 17th. But what I would say is, if this Bobby evos to a Ruby, he's still going to be incredible for 14,000 MT. He will be an absolutely incredible value. So just because it's spread out doesn't mean that these cards are bad for a budget ballers. Bobby right now is incredible for a budget baller. Another guy that has every capability of being incredible is Derek White. They play on Friday versus the Nets. If he gets an evo, he's going to be incredible for budget ballers. The evos we saw today in Bobby Portis Jr., KCP, Dorian Finney Smith, some of these evos were absolutely elite, and just know if that's what we've seen already and what's to come, it's going to be absolutely incredible. For example, Dorian Finney Smith already saw an evo to a sapphire. The Nets play the Celtics again on Friday. Imagine this. Imagine if Dorian Finney Smith, if they get another win, and he gets to be a Ruby. He's already incredible at that Sapphire tier. Imagine if they win again and he gets to be a Ruby. That's just, that's what really is exciting to me, is when these cards get to be at that next level good. I didn't necessarily think that this would be a set really to worry about, just because the in-season tournament is so kind of spread out. There's not a ton of games within that. But with that being said, 2K has kind of showed us, well, you know what, guys, we're going to be willing to give you guys good evos. And we've got a ton of games basically now through the end of November. And at the end of November, which is basically 3 weeks from now, we might have some Amis in here. We might have some maybe even Diamonds to look at for 14,000 MT. And again, if you are no money spent, this is a collection that I would really focus on. Now, how to approach this? Don't buy players yet, because for example, let's say you really like the Dorian Finney Smith, but he doesn't quite make your squad. What happens if the Nets don't win another game? Well, then he's not going to get evoed, and then you're basically going to spend 14,000 MT on a card who is not probably going to play. Now, for the Celtics, for example, let's say they win their first game, and Derek White gets to be a Sapphire, and he's really good as it is. They're probably going to win some more games, so it's a pretty safe bet to buy him and hope for more evos. That's the one thing that I kind of would keep in the back of your minds. But for all of us out here who have been like, man, 2K has not given us any budget ballers, this is the set that 2K is like, here you guys go. Here's your budget ballers. We'll evo them throughout the month of November, and you got a chance to add some really solid budget options to your squad, and you do. For example, these emeralds, in which, let's say, a guy like Dorian Finney Smith, a guy like Bobby Portis, they can play, they take less than an hour to get. You can grind out 13,000 MT in triple threat offline in less than an hour. And so that's my whole thing behind this is elite for no money spent players. I was not a big fan of this tournament battle set last Friday because the rewards weren't worth it. None of these cards really played, and I'm like, what are we doing? I honestly think this set should have probably even come out this weekend instead of being a Friday drop. But after looking at it and seeing the evos we got today, I really think the potential for it is off the charts, because Bobby saw an incredible evo. Let's say, for example, the Bucks win again and he gets as good of an evo. This card is going to be so good. That's what really gets me excited. And if you're not a big fan of Bobby Portis, go watch my Bobby Portis gameplay because he is absolutely elite. That's what gets me excited about this content. My No Money Spent Squad series, for example. Do any of the first EVOs really stand out and are like, dang, this card is so much better than the card I have in my lineup? No. Like Dorian Finney Smith might be better than Robert Covington. Bobby Portis Jr. might be better than like Wes Unseld. But it's not by a huge gap. The one thing that excites me though is what happens when they see their next EVO? Or what happens if Derek White, who is already good as an Emerald, sees his first EVO? Is he going to just be my starting point guard in the No Money Spent Squad series? Those are the things that are exciting, and knowing the prices aren't going to change. This whole thing would be so sad if they would adjust the prices as they went through things, but the prices stay the same. So at the end of this thing, according to the MyTEAM playbook, I'll pull it up here, we're going to get Amis in here for 14,000 MT. I think they even said something about possibly getting a diamond in here. It is possible for these Emeralds to evolve all the way to amethyst or diamond. We're going to have diamonds for 14,000 MT. Imagine if Bobby Portis Jr. becomes a diamond. Imagine if Derek White becomes a diamond. Imagine if Dorian Finney Smith becomes a diamond. These cards are going to be so good. And I know right now it doesn't really seem like it, but with the first EVOs, 2K's not messing around. They're standing on what they basically said is these guys are going to be really solid. And the best thing about it is they don't go up in price. That's the best part about the whole thing. If they went up in price, I really wouldn't be super stoked about this. I'd be like, it is what it is. Bobby Portis today is now 20-some thousand MT instead of 14,000 MT. But no, these cards are going to be solid as you do EVO them. The one thing about it is you just got to be careful about spending MT too early. Because let's say I buy Bobby today, hoping he eventually gets another EVO, and he doesn't. Then obviously if you don't use him in your lineup, you're basically losing out on that MT. Another thing is, I would not lock in these sets. You can sell them all back. I actually really like these NBA tournament battles and how they're set up. It wasn't super hype on Friday, which I get it. Jokic wasn't good. MPJ wasn't good. Herro wasn't good. None of these Emeralds were good. That's why I'm saying this set should have maybe come out on the weekend, something like that. But I do think for No Money Spent budget ballers, this is a set that can get you guys a good squad. I mean, honestly, let's say, again, a lot of these cards are good. So let's say you build your squad with 10 of these cards. They're going to be cheap. They're easy to get. And you know, I think you can absolutely build this good squad. Let's say Derek White gets to be an AMI. Bobby Portis gets to be an AMI. Dorian Finney Smith gets to be an AMI. KCP gets to be an AMI. You're going to have a really good squad by the end of this whole in-season tournament. You know, and that's something that does excite me. Again, it does, all the, you know, group play stuff does finish up in November, I believe. So by the end of November, we should have a really good squad of just NBA tournament battles players. That's something to look at, guys. For me, on my No Money Spent Squad series, you guys are probably going to see me be pretty active in this. I probably might not buy anybody today, just for the sole fact of I want to be really selective with my MT. But like if Bobby gets another EVO or if Derek White gets his first EVO, I'm probably not going to hesitate too much on it when it comes down to spending the MT to improve my squad. I want to know you guys' thoughts on the NBA tournament battles and how it affects you and how you play the game. Obviously, if you have a squad like this, it doesn't affect much because there's never going to be anybody that really makes your squad. But if you have a budget baller squad, or if you're just trying to get into my team, I think this NBA tournament battle set is one to really look at and focus on. Not to say you got to spend your MT today, but just keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on the EVOs. The EVOs aren't super hard to do. They're really good. And to me, that gets me somewhat excited. Drop a like on the video, guys. Subscribe if you are doing it. As always, man, I love you guys. Have a blessed day.